Have I not been telling you they're coming after you? Have I not said constantly, protect yourself, be careful? Have I not told you there are entities, our government, taxes, fines, people, and your greed is going to get in the way? Your greed is going to cause you to lose everything. You're willing to gamble a year or two to see what the float does. I don't criticize it, but what if another virus worse than the coronavirus? You ain't going to have no time to make no money and wait, the whole world shut down. Iraq advances one place in global gold reserves. Quote, the World Gold Council announced today, Sunday, that Iraq has advanced one place in the ranking of countries that hold the most gold in the world. Iraq increased its gold holdings to 162.7 tons, representing 12.7% of its total other reserves. I have contacts that are physically working in some locations. They started over this weekend. A couple of group contacts are steadily working and dusting off old paperwork and going through things because they have not been there in quite some time. Some groups expect full release of Tier 4A funds this week as well. I am very excited about the chatter, but we need it to actually come to fruition. The sheer numbers of folks in physical position around the world right now that are updating paperwork is amazing. To help you on an exchange, you're probably going to want to call your bank and schedule an appointment. In other words, if you're heavily invested in this, don't just walk into a bank with a big old bag of money and say, I need to exchange all this. Call them, set it up, schedule it, let them know how much you have. Ask them, do they have limits that you can bring in? I'm not calling a bank. I'm going to call Wells Fargo's private bank. I'll be able to bring in all my currency at one time. I don't have to bring it in stages or in different intervals or anything like that. I can bring it all in at once. Iraq's dollar reserves exceed $100 billion. Iraq advances one place in the global reserve. Iraq has massive amounts of reserves in comparison to what she truly needs in foreign currencies. You add the foreign reserves with her gold. For some reason they just found a few more tons of gold because they went from about 152 tons to about 162 tons. They found enough chump change to go buy 10 tons of gold. I think that's pretty funny because everybody's like, where do you get all that money? All their new non-oil revenues and the profits they're making. They're making a surplus. And you wonder why gold is at $2,880. That's a big jump, all-time extreme highs. Any good RV news, Mark? Some are saying today may be our day. Mark Z. I am hearing that, but they may be a couple days premature, but not far off. Mr. Sammy says we have made it to the finish line. We just need to cross it now. Frank, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Sammy. I use the example of Neil Armstrong wailing down the ladder of the lunar module. He has one foot on the step of the ladder, but the other foot is already touching the surface of the moon. We are simply waiting for the other foot to also touch the surface. For Iraq, non-oil revenues, which include taxes, customs and earnings from sectors outside hydrocarbons, rose to nearly 12% of total revenues in the first 9 months of 2024, up from about 7% before the approval of Iraq's landmark three-year budget in 2023. The rise in non-oil revenues is attributed to increased import customs, expanded taxes and contributions from the housing, transport and construction sectors. Non-oil GDP growth in 2024 will raise national investment in 2025. Al-Sudani advisor, quote, Mazhar Saleh, the Prime Minister's advisor for financial affairs, confirmed. The growth in the non-oil GDP, which reached 6% in 2024, will positively reflect on the strength of national investment in 2025. The Iraqi economy will witness a high investment boom in 2025 thanks to the economic accelerator factor in the investment field, in addition to the high positive growth effects of national income in 2024. Question: so no tax on our exchanges? Mark Z. I don't think we will be taxed, but be prepared just in case. Prepare for the worst and expect the best. Economist. Washington's policies towards Iraq prevented the revival of its financial resources, Will Trump change this Obama-Biden-era foreign policies towards Iraq? This is the only way, and I mean only way, we will see the RV in short order. The fact that Trump is a businessman before being a politician gives him the advantage to see the great potential for American investment in Iraq. U.S. threat to punish Rafidane may destroy dollar salaries and push Iraq into isolation. Quote, Professor of International Economics, Nawar al-Saadi, says, if sanctions are imposed on the Iraqi banking system, the effects will be broad and profound, as this will lead to major disruption in the Iraqi economy, especially since Iraq relies almost entirely on the American financial system in its international dealings, whether through transfers or reserves in the U.S. Federal Reserve, and any restrictions on these dealings will lead to a severe shortage of dollar liquidity, which will increase the demand for the dollar on the black market, and thus raise its exchange rate against the Iraqi dinar. The Prime Minister's advisor for financial affairs, Mazhar Mohammad Saleh, confirmed that the financial concerns raised from time to time about the economic situation in Iraq are baseless. Saleh told Al-Farad News that Iraqi diplomacy is one of the most successful in protecting the country's supreme interests, according to the government program's adoptions and national constants, whether with the United States or others. He added, there is a high degree of consistency in managing the country's financial affairs in a stable manner within the framework of the general economic policy, which is a positive thing that is always indicated by the ability and flexibility to confront economic challenges with high rationality during the past years. Saleh pointed out that the country enjoys good financial flows from oil revenues and others, supported by efficient foreign reserves and promising economic activity in the real sector in partnership with the private sector witnessed by the country, especially in the sectors of renewable energy construction, fossil oil, electricity, gas, infrastructure, reconstruction and housing in an unprecedented manner. Despite the statements of government officials reassuring the financial situation in Iraq, there are some concerns that are raised from time to time due to fluctuations in oil prices. The Iraqi economy depends heavily on oil exports, which makes it vulnerable to fluctuations in global oil prices. Any drop in oil prices could significantly impact government revenues and lead to a budget deficit. While there are some financial concerns, the economic situation in Iraq appears stable at the moment, thanks to good oil revenues and foreign reserves at the Central Bank of Iraq. Ali al-Zubaydi, a member of the Nabni Alliance, described today, Monday, the president's complaint against al-Sudani as an escalatory step that should not be taken, stressing that it comes within the framework of political wills and may have serious repercussions on the political scene in the country. Al-Zubaydi said in a statement to Al-Maluma agency that the President of the Republic, who swore to be the President of Iraq and not just the region, is today seeking to fuel crises and incite the street by filing a lawsuit